Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 61 of the Brunch and Judge.
I'm glad you remembered the number because I was like, wait, what?
I absolutely, before we recorded, went to find it out, to write it down, because I
You're
have
like, I'm
no
going to
idea
know the number.
at all. So I wrote it down. So for this week's episode, Claire and I will be talking Dumb Ways to Die, which you know is going to be a good time. But first,
Yes.
and more importantly,
Yes.
what are you judging this week, Claire?
I don't know if any of y'all have been watching or seeing any of these little snippets of Congress and the TikTok hearings. I can't with any of this. I'm just like, these people are making laws about things that are current. Like, I can't. These are like, you see these people, mostly old white men, some old white women also. I'm judging you old white women as well. I'm sorry, because y'all are a bunch of Neanderthals. Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise. It's just watching and listening to some of the things these people say to the CEO of TikTok makes my brain want to melt and run out my ears. And I'm not, I don't consider myself like a technology person per se.
Right.
But I mean, I've got a pretty good grasp on like how certain things work. And I'm just like, that's not how any of this works at all. At all. And I'm just sitting here like, how are you people still in power, still making laws, voting on laws? And I'm just,
well, I mean, I would like to remind you, Claire, that these people are currently talking about TikTok and whether or not teenagers can still download it to their phone in order to keep playing and having a good time. And for some people, like I have a couple of friends who have made some nice lucrative sideline business from it,
right.
This, I guess, newest, for lack of whatever, form of social media instead of,
right.
I don't know, dealing with gun control or increasing access to mental health or helping ensure that the poverty line is dealt with so there's much more low. But no, God forbid we do that.
Yeah, and one of the ones I watched,
regulate
which was
TikTok,
where I'm like harshing on an old white lady, was she's talking to the CEO of, she's from Colorado, talking to the CEO of TikTok about misinformation about herbal remedies for abortions. And this girl cuts in and she's like, why do you think these people are going to TikTok for herbal remedies on abortions? Huh? Why do you think they're having to do that instead of like actually going to a healthcare professional who knows about these things? Whose fault is that? Tell me, Diana. That's what she was saying. And she's like, tell me, whose fault is that? Not his. I can tell you, it's like not his fault. It's like, why are people having to go to TikTok to look up things? And that was a whole thing about like cam papaya seeds, cause an abortion. And it's like, this is some serious misinformation. And it's like, you know what? It's like, okay, people might eat papaya seeds and they'll be fine. But you're talking about serious misinformation.
Right.
And it's like, you hear what some of these Congress people talk about with women's bodies, and you want to talk about serious misinformation.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? I see audacity is on clearance today in Congress. Okay. Jeez. It's like, wow.
I know. It's like, God damn it, guys. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that there is some bigger issues about privacy and access to information via TikTok, and that we have to care about that. But
Well,
also,
yeah.
that you guys, you're the government. You're already letting everybody else steal all of that information. Facebook,
Right.
YouTube, literally anybody, Congress, they're taking it. So why the fuck do you care if TikTok has it too? I
I mean,
don't.
if any of you people have a Google Home, an Alexa,
Like they're already listening.
any of those, they are listening to you. It's like, and you're worried about this one
Mm.
app like stealing your info, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Such a
If
better
you
use
have
of time
if you
than
have any kind of smartphone,
oh
yeah, if you have any kind of
yeah.
smartphone, they are tracking your shit, or a debit card. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, a bank account. They are
Anything, yeah.
tracking you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you and you all are freaking out about TikTok? It's like, come on, people.
God forbid we focus on
Ugh.
making sure the government doesn't shut down, by the way. Let's
Right,
focus on TikTok.
right. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
it's
It's just
so it's I'm with you. It's the
I mean,
fucking stupidest thing. And I'm over here like,
and speaking of TikTok,
mm-hmm.
Tik my coworker Natalie sent me one, and it was this new thing now where it's like this like little gify thing that people put on the TikToks, and it's Pedro Pascal eating like
Yes,
something really crunchy.
yes.
Yeah, and
I've
he's sitting
seen
there eating it, and it's like a list. It's like a list of
mm-hmm.
things that the government. It's like list of things the government will protect you from, and it's like TikTok, and it's like a list of things the government won't protect you from, and it's like harmful things in foods,
Mm-hmm.
guns,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just this ridiculous list of things,
All the things
hell,
that will actually
well,
kill you,
yes,
but
yes.
not TikTok, man.
I mean, it
They're
was
gonna
just, and
take
then it
care of
was
that
just
TikTok.
like, but they're going to protect you from TikTok, so
Mm-hmm.
we're
Yeah.
safe. We're safe, guys. It's
Thanks,
fine.
guys.
It's fine. It's fine. The world is on fire, and it's fine. It's anyway.
I love it so much.
That's my judge. I
That
just
is magical, and I love that judge, and it's so on point, man. It is so on point.
it's
Mm.
just I've seen I mean TikTok, and I've seen so many TikToks of these people, and I'm just like, oh,
And I'm over here
jeez,
going, it's like,
I
guys,
can't.
yes, of course there's misinformation. And I am here to say that I do think that there should be more effort to try and deal with those issues. So that way less misinformation gets passed around. Cause I care. But like 90% of TikTok is stupid videos of like most of mine are book talks at this point because I accidentally
Right,
watched too many, so now it thinks that's the only thing I want. And I'm like, no,
right.
because I'm tired of seeing the same fucking books over and over, guys. I get it. Everybody loves Verity. I didn't love Verity. It was good. It was good. It's good. I'm waiting
It's
for
fine.
Claire to read Verity so that I can discuss with her why I really hate when people hype up shit because then you're like, it was fine.
Meh.
I mean, I liked it. I mean, I solid 4 stars. Yeah, it's really good. I enjoyed it.
I think honestly, I think that's why I wound up liking ACOTAR so much, is because I knew nothing about it.
Well,
I mean,
I
literally, I
also
went
know
in with
nothing.
my brother's
Yeah.
like take on it was like it's like Beauty and the Beast. Like that was like
But like
literally
it's not
like
even
I really only had Walt's like
it's not even that though. Like I knew nothing about the book Verity
I
going in,
know.
but it had been hyped so much. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing
Oh
I've ever
yeah.
read." And ACOTAR has this really obsessive fan base as well. So
Right.
if
But I knew nothing
if I were
about it.
into the to fantasy, I probably would steer clear from it until
Yeah.
all the hype goes away. I need the hype to die and for me to forget about it. But
But see, I think everybody because everybody thinks like Colleen Hoover
I
is
know, and like,
like, I mean, that's all
I
you hear
mean,
about. Colleen Hoover.
I'm gonna read another one of hers because like I liked it. I just didn't
He
think
said
it
it was
was the
fine.
most mind blowing book that has ever been written. I'm here going like, okay, dating myself. Da Vinci Code changed how I viewed life. Like that wasn't the
Right.
point of it, but that's what happened when
Right.
I read it, and so I'm like, mind blowing book. Verity, I'm telling you nothing about it, Claire, because I want you to go into it blind like I did. But
Mhm.
Verity, I was like, I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
saw it coming. Okay. It wasn't this
Right.
diabolical plot twist, but I want your opinion. So, It'll
Let me tell you
happen.
what, guys. If you want some like ridiculous plot twists, go read you some Riley Sager
Yes, I
because
love
some
Riley
of those
Sager.
I'm like, what am I reading right
I
now?
know.
I'm like, oh my god.
Um,
Anyway, so
I
back to topic.
I I pray. I love all of the Riley Sager. I'm always like, yes. Okay. Sorry. Oh yes, right. Back.
We've digressed.
We,
We're
see this.
digress.
That is what TikTok really is, guys. Calm down.
Yes, yes. Anyway.
And I also watch the one chef who watches random home cooks and like sometimes real
Oh,
chefs
yes.
like watch those videos,
Yep.
and that cracks me up because he's like
Yep.
he'll grade it at the end, out of 10, would he eat that? And like most of the time he's like 5 of 10, I would eat that. I'm a mess. I'm a monster. Like,
I
thank
like
you. Thank
watching
you for
the
being real.
African American lady who will judge white people cooking.
That's magic.
And she's like, "Oh, you're so creative. You boiled some chicken. Oh, you put some salt in there."
Mhm. That's magic.
I know. It's so
Oh,
funny. Yeah.
goodness. But yes, so like, thank you, Congress, for saving us from TikTok.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Our lives will
So
be so
important to my
yeah.
daily life. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mhm.
Mm.
Cuz they say on average we're wasting 90 minutes a day on it. So Yep. Anyway, that is my judge. So
That is an excellent judge.
yeah. So, what are you judging today?
Well, I will say I almost judged, so honorable mention, the fact that Trump decided to do his first big presidential campaign speech at Waco on the
Oh my
anniversary of
gosh,
Waco.
right.
And I was like,
Oh,
well, one, we just talked about that, so there's that. But two,
tacky.
I'm like, the fuck is wrong with
Tacky.
you? But that aside, just a nod of,
Oh,
guy, this
no,
is not
wait.
fair.
Can I just say
Uh-huh.
that this morning I was watching Face the Nation. It came on after
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning, which I like to watch. And it
Yeah.
was just I was messing around on my phone when that came on. And Margaret Brent, there was like some Republican congressperson. I don't know. I didn't care about the name.
Right.
Anyway, she's asking him about because Trump was in Texas about you know, his rhetoric, and, the all the stuff with the January 6th and everything he
Right.
says and all that, especially like now, what he's saying now. And she's like, "Do you agree with that?" And the fucker never answered the question.
Well, of course not.
And it's just like she
Well,
kept like
it's
saying, "But do you do that?" And he would never
well
answer the fucking question.
because it's like
But then
even
he's
if,
like, "But it's on both sides. It's on both sides." And it's like, "Excuse me, sir. Is it? Is it?"
but it's what it's
No, I
like
don't think so.
it's you can't speak against Trump because you need his base in order to get you elected, because that's, but you also can't agree with Trump because
Right.
you're like, people are eventually going to go to prison, guys. I don't want to be part of that. So like, it's a tightrope.
Right.
Oy.
Anyway, so
But
your
so
real
what I'm
judge.
actually judging is randomly this week we've watched a few South Park episodes. I don't know. It's on TV. It is what it is.
That's funny because Brandon was watching South Park earlier this week and we were laughing about some of the older episodes.
Right. So this was an older episode, and it was an episode in which South Park uh, dealt with Mormonism
Is it the one where they sing the song?
before before they yes, the one where they sing the song.
The
Before
dum
they
dum
wrote
dum
the
dum dum.
dum 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 dum.
Yes.
Yes. I like, I'm sitting there watching it, cracking up because I'm like, oh, I love the Broadway show Book of Mormon, which they did.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so funny to me. And then like I'm watching it as it goes, I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember this. Like I remembered that he found the tablets and that
Yes.
he couldn't, no one else could see the tablets. But like I had no idea. I swear I completely forgot that like Joseph Smith has the tablets. He puts them in his hat and he uses his special stones to be able to read them out loud to someone else to write down. But that person can't look in the
I
hat
know.
to see the tablets. He's fucking looking in a hat. Oh,
It's
oh my
so
God.
stupid.
But then, like, smart. The wife of the person who is
Yes.
translating it is like,
Like
dude,
questioning
is like,
everything.
well, let's just hide these. And if he can write it out again, then all right, but if he's just like making this up, it won't be the same. And husband is like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll pretend like we lost
Right.
them. And then it's this whole thing of like, well, God says I can't have this translation from this book, so it's gonna be the same story, but it's gonna be a different translation from another book. And I'm like, fucking hell. How the hell did people like like I think about how fucking stupid the world is today, especially
Right.
we're talking about Trump, but like especially like the January 6th. I think about how stupid it is with Q and all of the ridiculous lizard people, the flat earthers,
I
like all
know.
of the ridiculous fucking garbage that people believe today. And I was like, people are just dumber today than they used to be. And then I saw South Park and went, oh my god, no. People have
Right.
always been fucking idiots. Oh my god.
But
But
I
like
remember that I think because I was never like I don't know because I don't even remember like when South Park actually came on, like what its normal night was, but
no.
we
I
were
didn't
never
really
like
watch it,
big,
yeah.
yeah. And I think it was just I remember there was one night I was watching it and I happened to catch that episode and
Mhm.
I thought it was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like, and
Dum
that
dum
was
dum dum
totally,
dum.
and this was like when I was like in high school or college,
Mhm.
totally a precursor to Book of Mormon. And I
Right.
was that dum 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 dum. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny, you know. And then when Book of Mormon came out, I mean, I remembered that one episode that
Mhm.
like, because,
That
like I
I
said, I
guess
never watched it
spawned it
religiously.
all, right? Well,
Yeah,
so confession, I never really watched South Park because I 80% of the time cannot understand what Cartman is saying. I'm like, what?
right.
He's like, and I'm like, what is he saying? And so a lot of times if Spencer and I are watching, I'm like, what did he say? And he'll be like,
Turn your subtitles on.
right? It's like I just don't know what he's and it always aggravated me. So but yes, so that was the episode. Uh, and and I was cackling over it because like at first it's like dum 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 dum. Like, well, that's
Right.
irony. They're saying dum dum
Dum
dum
dum
because it
dum.
is fucking dumb. And then they get
Uh-huh.
to like smart, smart, smart,
Yep.
smart, smart, and they're like, oh,
I
it's
know.
intentional. Okay, good. I'm here for it. But we were talking about like at the beginning before it gets into that whole uh story of Joseph Smith that
Right.
like the whole family is so fucking happy and just like surrounding you with like perfect happy family vibes, and so like everyone just feels like I guess I have to kind of go with what you want
Yeah.
because like
Mhm.
and so we are talking about how that is like a tactic still, like not specifically to Mormons or anything, but
Right, right.
and you're just like okay.
It's just like,
But
okay, you gotta do what you want.
I I can't get over reading them out of a hat. Like, why the fuck are there tablets in the hat? But also, the other thing I can't get over is I can't believe that there was not like enough forethought on his part to like write out the story so you could just read it to the guy. Like, why wouldn't you have
Right.
written it out first so you can just read it to the
And I
guy?
think also when you say tablets to me, I'm thinking like Ten Commandments, like
Right.
big
Whoa.
tablets. But then I'm
Right.
like, when you stick them in a hat, they gotta be like teeny tiny.
Well,
Like what are we talking here? Like,
and just like the ridiculous rampant racism from the beginning is like and the native peoples were white until they turned from Jesus or something and then
right.
they became red. I'm like, what the
Yep.
god?
And then it's like, and if you were neutral, you became black, and you're like, oh my
What the fuck?
God,
Yeah.
like what
I
is
can't
happening?
I can't process this. This is just too much.
And I
But
will never forget also, I don't know if you remember this. When we were in youth group, I remember we watched a video on Mormonism
mhm.
and it had like cartoon animation in it.
Yes. Yes, it
And
did.
I was just like, what?
Yes, cuz
Because it was
I
this whole like
have never
when
been able to get over the magic underwear. And I learned about the magic underwear in youth group.
I mean, it was just the whole thing was insane. And now I like question everything with that. Like I'm like, was this true or was this some like Baptist bullshit propaganda to keep us from being Mormon? Because I just remember this
Yes.
video that was like, oh, when Lucifer fell from grace, that the angels who went with him became like his demons, okay?
Right, right.
You know, and then the angels who stayed with God stayed angels, but then it was like the people who were like in the middle who didn't want to like choose a side were the ones who became the black people, and I was like, what? I was like, I can't
I
with this right
can't.
now.
I can't.
Like I remember that. I was just like,
Mhm.
oh my God. I'm like, is this real? Do they really believe this? This is insane.
One of the TikTok people that I follow is an ex-Mormon. So she's I laugh a lot at her videos because she's like, "Do you really believe blah 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 blah?" And she's like, "Oh, da 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 da." She's like, "We do," and you're like, "What?"
And you're like, excuse
What?
me?
I'm like,
Then there was like the whole thing like men when they get to heaven and they were gonna have like their own planet.
yes, but you only get your own planet if you have at least 4 wives. It's a rule.
And then yeah. And I was just like, this I can't with this. This is insane. But yeah, I just remember that video with that cheesy ass animation and I was just like, what? But now again, like I
Mhm.
said, I just wondered if that was some kind of like
Well, I mean, to be
Baptist
fair,
propaganda to keep us from like,
uh,
oh, this isn't real Christianity.
I mean,
You're
to
gonna
be
go to hell if
fair,
you do this.
like I saw something, it was a meme on Facebook, but essentially it was talking about like the guy who created the Seventh-day Adventists and like the guy who created Jesus, the Mormons,
um,
the Jehovah's Witnesses, and the guy that there's another one, but their Baptist was on there as well. And it's like the year that they created this religion is like the single guy just made this shit up. Like it
right.
had Joseph Smith, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm like, LOL. And then it had another one. It's like Constantine and
Yeah.
all the stuff that he just made up. So this is part of Christianity now. It's not in the Bible anywhere, but we're gonna add it so that you believe in the
Yeah.
Trinity. I'm like,
And it
oh,
all just coincides with all the pagan holidays.
convenient.
Ta-da!
Yay! So I'm
Ta-da!
like, I mean,
I know, right? It's just
but
mhm.
I was like, at least in Christianity, somebody made all of these ridiculous decisions, hundreds, technically thousands of years ago at this point of a lot of this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I mean we have this old text that someone has
Right.
copied several times, but it's like I'm trying to imagine being in 1800 something or another and being like, so God told you there were gold tablets like conveniently in your backyard and you found
Right.
them and that Jesus lived here for a while apparently. I mean, okay. Can I see your tablets?
Have you seen
No.
that have you seen that Netflix Murder Among the Mormons?
Is it the one with
And it's about a
the bombs or whatever? The who
yeah,
blew up
and
stuff?
the
Yes, I did. It's
and
been a long time, but
he was forging
forging, yes, forging
the
all the
documents.
yes.
Yes.
Because there's that whole like secret set that no one has found. Oh, it's like, is that the set that the guy lost to begin with, or is this a separate set entirely? Because I
Right.
don't even know.
Yes. Because there's like so many things that they have, the Mormons have that they
Hmm.
won't let anybody look at.
Oh, like the Catholic Church?
Yes. Like they have all these documents. They're like, no, it's only for us. No. Only the super special secret society people can look at it. We're like
That's
the
right.
skulls. We can't nobody only the people who know the secret handshake can look at it.
But anyway, so that's my judge. I watched South Park and it led me down the whole path of just like dum 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 in a hat,
Yes.
guys. In a hat. He put it in a hat like a magician. Like, okay, I'm out. Sorry, can't. It's just so fucking ridiculous. The whole thing, and I'm like, okay,
Yes.
okay, I'm out.
She's just like, I'm done.
I
It's
can't.
over.
There's nothing for me to give you at this point. Sorry.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Which
Indeed. That's a good judge. I'm not gonna yeah. Brings back some memories. I remember that episode, yes. That's a good judge.
Thank you. So, I think we should move on to our topic du jour for today,
Yes.
which is, again, dumb ways to die.
Yes.
There are so many dumb ways to die.
Indeed.
Uh, quick plug, if you've not played the Dumb Ways to Die game that you can download from the
Yes.
App Store, do so. It's worth it. It's hilarious. And it was started as a like PSA to have people be safe around trains
Yes.
because people were
In
getting
like
killed by trains.
Australia or something,
Yeah, in
or
Australia.
England.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
It turned into a song. Yeah.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun. All right. So I am going first this week.
Oh, is it?
And yes.
I guess because I just did my whole episode last
Yeah.
week. So, okay.
Yeah, that's what I decided. I also
Okay.
decided it's easier to remember if I go on the odd episodes and you go on the even episodes, because then I don't forget.
Okay. I see.
Uh-huh. It's my
Cool.
secret internal brain rule.
Gotcha. Cool. Cool. Okay.
All right. So I bring to you the story of the weird ways that women died in Victorian era literature.
Ooh.
So I got all of my information from starsinsider.com, secretvictorianist.com, and as always, Wikipedia. Thanks, Wikipedia.
It's our fave.
So I'm just going to kind of go through some of the fun ways that women die in either novels that were written in the Victorian times or novels that have been written set in Victorian times. Because,
Okay.
there's a couple of outliers.
Gotcha.
So the first one is a woman died from brain fever.
Brain fever?
Brain fever.
Okay.
In The Adventure of the Crooked Man, which is a Sherlock Holmes story, Nancy Barkley dies of brain fever after she suffers the terrible shock of the death of her husband. So you're like, okay.
And what book is this?
The Adventure of the Crooked Man.
Wicked Man. Okay.
So, fun fact, apparently, in order to treat her brain fever, they cut off all of her beautiful dark chestnut hair, which was a very common practice because God, Victorians, they believed. I mean, they tablets in a hat. I don't know, but they believed that less hair on the head would reduce a fever. So all that long, thick, dark hair, you got to cut that off. Okay,
What?
I know.
I did.
Mm.
Yes, because being bald has always saved somebody's life. Whatever. No.
Okay.
It makes
Next
zero sense.
death.
This is like up there with like fucking leeches. Okay, I'm
Right.
just
I
sorry.
mean, it's fucking stupid. It's really stupid. Okay. Exhausting willfulness.
Oh God.
Yes.
What?
In David Copperfield, written by Charles Dickens, Mrs. Copperfield is described as being childish and overly emotional. She's too soft. She's petty. She's nagging all the time. She's constantly complaining. She's not firm enough with her children and just is a constant bother to her husband.
Those women folk, they're just exhausting.
So at some point, she gets scolded too much by her husband, and she is so worn out and so weak that she is unable to recover from childbirth and eventually passes away. But not because she gave birth to a child, by the way, but because of her exhausting willfulness. Her willfulness exhausted her to the point of death. And I'm like, I'm sorry. What?
What?
What the fuck?
Again, I just don't.
Men write these. Men
Men.
write these.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously. Yeah, you know what? If a man had ever given birth to a child, it's like, yeah, fuck you guys. That's all I gotta say.
Right?
I've not given birth to a child,
Don't
but
need
even
to.
I know.
Don't need to know that that's probably the worst thing in the whole wide world. So thanks.
Right. Right. No. Mm-mm. No, no. Because it's like I already know what it's like to have a menstrual cycle, and it's like that alone is terrible enough. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to know what the rest of it's like. So, no
Mhm.
thanks.
All right. Ready for the next one?
Yes.
Being worn out.
You know what? I've been worn out and I haven't died yet.
Well,
So,
you
I'm
did it
just
wrong.
saying.
It's like
Apparently.
so
Apparently.
in a story also by Dickens called Dombey and Son, which I don't remember at all. I used to be a
I've
huge Dickens
never
fan,
heard
but I
of
have no
that.
idea.
Yeah.
Uh, the one character, her name is Alice Brown, is inexplicably ill for over a year. And so she is in this constant, delicate state of fatigue until she eventually just fades away. Uh-huh. This one's one of my
This is
favorites.
almost as good as like men writing sex scenes
Oh my god.
and like
Well, because
about women's bodies.
yeah, that's it's basically that for the Victorian era.
Right.
Hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Going outside at night in Italy.
Just walking outside.
Just going outside. It will kill you. In
Will
Daisy
it?
Miller by Henry James, the character Winterbourne travels to Rome to visit Daisy, but finds that she's been dating a number of disreputable Italian men.
The audacity.
The audacity. One evening, he sees her with one such Italian man at the Colosseum. And somehow, very confusing to me. I'm not sure if it's because he saw her or because she was with this guy or just that she was out at night. She somehow ends up with Roman fever, which kills her within a number of days.
What?
And I'm like, the fuck? She couldn't have caught that in the daytime at tea with,
No.
the
Nope.
Countess, whatever her name is. No,
Never.
no. Instead, it's because she
Uh-uh.
went out at night with a
She's a whore. Why?
disreputable man.
Right.
That's right, she's a whore. You'll like this one. Uh, Too many novels. Too many novels.
What? No.
Madame
Mm-mm.
Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. Emma Bovary is obsessed with romance novels. What? And this
I'm
is,
sorry. I am like too many books, so little time. That's my mantra.
but apparently being obsessed with romance novels is her ultimate downfall because it gives her unrealistic expectations of life. And I'm over like, same Emma, same,
Right.
same.
Yes.
But instead of being like the rest of us, who's like, ah, man, why can't people be like these fictional whatever? She instead gets into massive debt trying to buy perfection, to try and, be happy. And she never is happy. And ultimately, she unalives herself. Not because
Uh,
perhaps men suck, especially in
right.
that book, if my memory serves me correctly, but because she read too many romance novels.
Mm,
Hmm.
right.
Death by Beautiful Face.
No, what?
Mm-hmm. The
Who?
Lady of Shalott by Alfred Tennyson is a poem that tells the story of a noble woman who's stranded in a tower near Camelot. And from her window, she sees none other than Lancelot and
Uh,
immediately falls in love. She escapes her tower and she takes a boat down the river to try to find him, but ultimately she dies before she arrives. But Lancelot sees her, I guess now corpse, on the boat and remarks about how beautiful her face is. So
what?
I don't. It's actually
So it's like
so
if she had made it, he
it
would have
is
thought she was pretty. I don't
right.
know.
Um, it probably is an allusion to the consumption because apparently consumption would cause people
uh,
to become very thin and pale, but it would give them flushed cheeks because they're sick. And that was considered the
uh,
height of beauty in the day. So you may be dying, but at least you're beautiful.
that's right. You're
Mhm.
pretty.
All right. Death by daydreaming.
Lord, I would
So,
have done been dead.
right. So this is one, it was written, this is a book called Gormenghast by Mervyn Peake. And it's a
Mervin.
1950 fantasy novel that's set in the Victorianish times.
Okay.
So fragile and, of course, ethereal, Lady Fuchsia Grown, yeah, accidentally falls to her death while daydreaming. Now, she's locked in her tower room because the fuck, why? Why are you locked in? Why is every Victorian woman locked in something? Locked in an attic, locked in the tower, locked in their
Right.
room. Like, fuck that shit. But there
Right.
happened to be a flood going on. So, as she's staring out her window daydreaming, she steps up on the windowsill unknowingly when someone knocks at her door. Why are they knocking? She's locked in. Can't they just, like, open the door?
Right.
Like, she's not gonna be like, come
She can't
in.
open it.
You can't do a damn thing. But neither here nor there. So, someone knocks at the door, and that startles her. And though it startles her back into reality, she also is startled off the windowsill down into her watery grave.
Also, why is she standing in the windowsill? Like, why would you do that?
Daydreaming? I don't know.
Because yes, because everybody stands in the windowsill while they daydream. Yes.
Yes, of course. Don't you?
Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. Death by cold hands.
Okay. If this was a thing, it would be
I
me
I'd be
or
dead.
Brandon because Brandon always calls me Yeti paws because my hands are always
Nice.
cold.
Yep.
I mean, anytime he's always
Yeti
like,
paw.
"Damn Yeti paws."
Wow.
He's all the time like, "I need to get you hand warmers or some kind of like."
Mm-hmm. It's hilarious. Well, it would also be my death because I'm always cold. Um, so the opera La Boheme
Yes.
by Giacomo Puccini is based on the book written by Henri Murger and also the inspiration for Rent.
Rent.
But in the story, Mimi is a young bohemian woman living in Paris when she first meets her love, Rodolfo. She passes out after losing her breath coming up the stairs. Rodolfo, of course, notices how beautiful she is at that moment and touches her, saying, "Oh, what a cold little hand." And then she dies at the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, it's consumption.
It's always
It's
consumption.
consumption. Unless it's rent and then it's AIDS.
Yes.
But it was consumption first. All right.
Gotta update it. You gotta update the story.
All right. Death by smelling too good. You smell too
What?
good. You must die.
Yes. Hmm.
You'll know this one. So, this is a book that was written in 1985, but is set in 18th century France. Perfume, the story of a murderer by
Shut
Patrick
up.
Suskind. In this
Oh my
book,
god.
also a movie now. In
No.
this book, 25, more than 25 teenage girls are murdered because they smell too good and the killer wishes to recreate their scent into perfume, so murders them and then tries to make perfume. It's a whole
I've read
thing.
it.
So don't smell too good or you'll get murdered by a psychotic serial killer. Yay.
Well, it's also
I mean,
he's
yeah,
got
there's a
this
lot
his
more to it, of
nose, like
course.
his sense of smell is like redonkulously heightened and He can smell things that nobody else can smell, and it's a whole thing.
No, I know,
It's a
I know.
vibe.
He's making
And the
pretty. Makes
movie
lots of
is
sense.
like, what? And I didn't realize it was a book. I saw the movie first. And also,
I saw
what's
the
his
movie
name?
first.
What's the guy's name? Mm.
Alan
Anyway,
Rickman.
he's Alan Rickman is in it, but there's
Yeah,
also
because that's what I remember is Alan Rickman's in it. I'm like, hello.
the guy who's playing an Italian, but he never has an Italian accent. And I'm like, what the hell? What the
Well,
hell?
hmm.
Oh,
Little,
who played Hook in Hook
no idea. I don't know those things.
in the Peter Pan?
I
Shit, Robin Williams and shit. Anyway,
and some
I think
other
it was
person.
yeah. Anyway, it was funny because I watched it with my cousin and we were like, he's supposed to be playing Italian and he does not have an Italian accent at all. Like it was like, what the hell?
Hmm.
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, I never would have known that. That never would have. I don't know.
But
Okay,
yes.
anyway.
Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, the movie is like, what the fuck am I
I
watching?
know. It's one of those. It's a movie that like came on a TV channel at some point, and so like I missed the intro, so it kind of started near the beginning. But I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" Anyway. Okay. Death by longing for the ocean.
I mean, I feel that. That's a vibe.
So, The Awakening, written by Kate Chopin, finds Edna as its main character, and she goes to the sea on a vacation and finds a new sense of freedom and liberation that is vastly different from her normal life as a wife and mother. And she's like, I need the sea. I'm longing for the sea. I gotta have the sea. So eventually, she returns to the sea and she goes in and she swims in it until she loses all of her strength and she drowns.
So she's like the opposite of the Little Mermaid.
Yeah. To the sea.
Yes.
Boy. All right. This should strike a memory for you. Death by wearing a wedding dress for too long.
Mm.
In Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Nah.
Mrs. Havisham wears her wedding dress for decades. Like it's
Yeah.
the whole thing is insanity, but like she's always wearing her wedding dress. And in the end she gets too close to the fire and her rotting dress that at this point is just flimsy like crinkled paper garbage. It
Yep.
immediately just goes up into flames and she, dies from her burns or whatever and you're like, meh, yeah, it's time.
I mean, it really is.
It
It's
really
just like,
was. You're kind of like,
yep.
that's shocking. And then you're like, not really. It's okay.
He was
Now,
crazy.
this, I've never read this one, but now I want to. Nathaniel Hawthorne's Rappaccini's Daughter. I've never read this story.
No, I have not.
So, and this is one in which it is death by poison immunity.
What?
Rappaccini is a scientist who specializes in poisonous plants, and he has a big, like, poison garden at his house. And he doses his daughter with poison so that she will become immune to it. And she
Okay.
does, but that's because she becomes poisonous herself. So she can't really
Oh.
leave the poison garden because if she touches any living thing, it will kill it. So she can't touch like people or animals or any other plants
Oh.
like so she ends up
What's it
dying.
called? Rappaccini's what?
Daughter.
Rappaccini's daughter. Okay.
I know,
No,
right? I'm
I've
like, I
not.
gotta find this. I need to read this.
Yeah, this sounds interesting.
But so I'm running it for you. But so she ends up dying when a boy that she falls in love with, tries to give her the antidote to the poisons that she had taken to become immune. because he wanted them to be together.
Yeah.
But the antidote ends up killing her because she is
Oh.
poison.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that insane?
Interesting. I still kind of want to read it
I
though.
know. I'm like, I gotta read
Like,
that. I know. I have a soft spot for Nathaniel Hawthorne. I
mm.
always like his stuff. Anyway, okay. The last one, Night Brain.
What?
Night
Night
Brain.
brain.
Death.
What does
Death by
that even
Night
mean?
Brain. Anna Karenina. Also a super happy book
Yes.
by Tolstoy. So Anna
Tolstoy,
has
he always writes
a
those like knee
those
slappers.
right, the ones at the end where you're just filled with love and warmth for the entire world and all of humanity. That's what he writes.
What was that one? The Death of Ivan Ilyich? I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
the
He's
warm
had
fuzzy book.
some real winners, real fuzzy ones.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in Anna Karenina, Anna has a very limited experience when it comes to happiness. Very, very few happy moments, actually, the whole book. So her life is mostly filled with melancholy and a sense of disillusionment. Like, it's not a good time. She's not having a good time in this book. To be fair, she was written by Tolstoy.
Yeah, right.
So essentially, she's basically suffering from depression, but in the book, it's called Night Brain. But it eventually leads her to throw herself in front of a train, which is sad.
Yes.
But the best part of it really is that after she has died, the Countess Vronsky, who is a gossipy and judgmental old hag as far as the character goes,
Right.
says her that referring to Anna's death, saying her death was the death of a bad woman, a woman without religion. And I'm like, oh, people were assholes and then too? Awesome. Good to know.
Yes. Hooray. Things never change.
Yay! Yay for things never changing. Everybody's still stupid. Yay! So there you have it. Those are some of many. There are many ways to die in a Victorian novel. There's a lot of fainting that happens in the vapors.
Yes.
So, like, millions of ways. But these are some highlights for you
Yes.
of some
Well,
ways to die.
that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
stupid man,
you.
for giving us dumb ways to
Oh,
die.
well, and one of the things that I read was talking about how, because women faint all the goddamn time in Victorian
Oh
era
yeah.
novels, but they stopped fainting as much once the Bronte sisters came around and started writing, because they wrote significantly less amounts of fainting. And
Okay.
that's kind of when male writers were like, oh, you don't really faint. Okay. And it reminded me of men trying to write sex
Right.
scenes
Right.
with women, and you're like, you've never had sex with a woman, have you? Ever? Never once in your
Right.
whole life. I
I
can
know,
tell.
right?
I
It's
can
like,
tell.
oh
This isn't.
gosh.
That's not how any of that works.
No. Mm-mm. None. None. Nope.
Mhm.
Well, that was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
And say, what story have you brought us today, Claire?
uh, my dumb way to die, I'm just gonna do one. Um, we talking about snake handling churches.
Oh my god. It's just yes. Yes.
I just
I would choose all of those deaths mentioned. These seem far more likely, these Victorian deaths, compared to oh, all right, let's go. Let's go. It's pretty dumb. I'm ready for it.
Okay, my sources are Wikipedia, mtsu.edu, and cbsnews.com.
Yay.
And so snake handling churches. Snake handling is observed in a small number of isolated churches, mostly rural in the US. and is associated mostly with the holiness and Pentecostal religions.
Oh
Most of
dear.
them have like, or they did have like something about like something about with the sign after it, like in the early days.
Right,
you
right.
know, you know, in the name. Um, so there's dispute about how it started. But this one guy began around 1910 in Grasshopper Valley, which is in southeastern Tennessee, in the ministry of George Went Hensley.
I'm gonna
Like
be
I said, it's just
honest. I
yeah.
am stupidly happy that it was Tennessee and not Kentucky.
Well,
I
Kentucky has
mean, I know
mentioned
we come in. Boy, do I know. Boy, do I know. But it didn't start there. So I'm like,
no. Mm-mm.
we'll take it.
Well, and
I'll take
he
it.
and it like I said, it was disputed that he was the one,
Right, right.
but yeah, and that like I said, it's disputed that he's the one, and that the observance of snake handling arose kind of independently, simultaneously
Mm-hmm.
across, but that because he was one of the ones who did strongly advocate for snake
Mm-hmm.
handling, and he was one of the leaders in the church who was really charismatic about it, and you know so
We
he
gotta
was,
handle these snakes.
I
My
mean,
God.
yeah. And he, like I
Oh,
said, because he was charismatic, the people like kind of flocked to him, and
sure,
so
I guess.
he did help. He helped advance the spread of snake handling.
If nothing else, right? Got it, got it.
Yeah, yeah. So if he was not the one, he did help advance the spread of Pentecostal snake handling across southeastern United States. A guy named Pastor J.D. Browning, was the one who kind of brought it to Kentucky in 1934.
Hmm.
But
Thanks.
yeah, yeah, right, right. And so where this comes from biblically, there are a few passages. One is Luke 10:19, where it says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you."
So
So that's one of the passages
you're
where
saying we
people,
could have been a scorpion handling church, is what you're saying to me. It could have been
I
scorpions,
mean,
but
yeah,
we chose snake. All
based
right,
on that.
sure, sure,
Yes,
sure,
we
sure.
yes, we chose
We
snakes,
chose
not
snakes. All right.
scorpions. I guess it's because there's not really
There's
scorpions in Kentucky or Tennessee, like
it's fair.
you know. Other one is Mark 16:17 through 18. And the sign shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. And they shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So
Okay,
that's another one.
so it says nothing about poisonous snakes. It's just generic snakes. You can pick up snakes. I feel like it's more a call
Yes.
to be a Slytherin than anything else, but whatever.
I
But like,
mean, yeah.
why are we not drinking all of the poison Kool-Aid at this point? If you can drink the bad drinks, why are
Well,
we focusing?
apparently that's
Oh,
also a thing in these churches that they're drinking strychnine.
I'm sorry. Fuck. What?
Yes, that's in here. Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh God. Okay, keep going, man. I
Yeah,
had no
and
idea.
so in another passage, and I'm not going to read all of it because that was a lot, but I'll just give you the gist of that passage. But in Acts 28:1 through 6, it's a passage where Paul is in Melita, and he is gathering wood for a fire. And when he takes the wood and places it on a fire, a serpent comes out of the fire and bites him on the hand. And they say a viper, sorry.
Okay.
Specifically said viper. So I guess viper
Whatever.
entails that it's poisonous. I don't know.
To each their own.
Anyway, yeah, bites him on the hand. And so he shakes it off back into the fire. And so when he does that, like, and then he doesn't have any effects from this snake bite. And so the people who were there who witnessed this, they're like, oh, got bit by a snake and he didn't have anything. So they believed that after that that he was a god because he got bit by a snake and he was fine.
Is it possible we just misidentified the snake? It just wasn't a poisonous snake. I don't know.
Perhaps. I mean, that's fair.
Whatever. I don't know.
Maybe.
I wasn't there.
Just saying.
I
I
wasn't
know, me
there.
neither.
It's just a
Me
query. That's
neither.
all.
Me neither. So it's like they've taken those three passages and that's like the entire basis of why they think that they can handle snakes.
Hmm.
Which I'm just kind of like,
Hmm.
really? Like, out of
Okay.
the entire book of the Bible,
I mean, there's
you're
just so
taking.
many other things you could have picked to like focus on, is all I'm saying. Like,
Right.
I mean, there's doves all over the place. What if we just like bred a bunch of doves as like symbols of peace or something instead of
Right.
like just it feels like a fraternity dare. Like everyone's drunk and like someone reads this random
Mhm.
thing and like, "Oh, dude, you should totally do that." And they're like, "No." No, I'm like, "No, no, I dare you, dude, do it." And they're like, "Well, I have to now because you dared me." It feels like how this started.
It might have. I don't know.
I mean,
But it's just like,
and then they were
yeah.
like, "No, it's fun. Let's do it some more. Let's add it to." And
Right.
then when we're questioned, oh, Jesus is the answer to why this is
Yes.
happening.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Safe.
And so worshipers at these churches are encouraged to like lay hands on the sick, speak in tongues,
Mm-hmm.
give testimony of miracles,
Mm-hmm.
and consume strychnine.
Mm-mm.
Because there you go with the drinking.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm just like,
I
say
mean,
what?
it just feels like a lot of people probably died. At least in the beginning, as they were getting it right, like the dosage.
I know, right? Like, I'm like, because I saw that, I'm like, wait, what? Strychnine? When did this come in? Like,
Like we can all ingest minute amount of strychnine and it won't hurt us.
right, right. But it's just like,
So,
but
huh.
so at these churches, it's like typical services, singing, preaching. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for that. Speaking in tongues, not part of my.
Not our experience.
No,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm. And it's just like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Okay, sure.
whatever.
It's,
That's your own deal. It says the snakes are kept behind the pulpit, and they have like I guess it's kind of like an invitation, at the end when you want to give your soul to God, invitation to come down to handle the snakes, and a lot of it, you get a snake, you raise it above your head. Sometimes the people like put it on them and let the snake like
bleh.
crawl all over them,
I just
because they have the spirit.
here's
Like if they've got the spirit,
right.
that's they
But a
use
question.
yeah,
I mean, we went to a pretty nice church growing up.
yeah, yeah.
And
Hmm.
every week they would hand us like a bulletin is what we called it, but it's basically like
Yes,
an order of service. So you're just like, oh, we're gonna have our opening prayer, then we're gonna have some praise songs, and then like, specifically the minister of music is gonna lead us in a prayer, and then Joe from youth group is gonna give a testimony. Like it's all
right.
itemized, so it's really nice. It's helpful because you can figure out how close you are to the end. But
Uh-huh.
did these churches have like, you know, prayer, song, testimony, speaking in tongues, another testimony, sermon, snake handling? Like, is it
I'm gonna say no.
communion? Like, I mean,
I'm
I
gonna
just
say this is one of those churches where this could have gone on for like hours.
no.
You know,
Oh, that's my
I feel
nightmare.
like these are those churches that could
Mm.
like
You
just
better
keep
eat a big
going. Like,
breakfast
oh,
because you may not be back till
we
dinner.
feel the spirit. We're gonna keep going. The
Uh
spirit
huh.
is here. We're gonna
I
just
remember
keep
those
going.
words in my life. I'm like,
Right.
okay.
But so they use snakes such as rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, copperheads, and sometimes even cobras. And so then I'm like thinking like Indiana Jones at this point. I'm like, oh geez, you know,
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh, like I just think of that one scene where he like lands in that pit with all the snakes, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh god,
Yes.
you know. So specific story, and this is from the CBS News
Mm-hmm.
article. In 2014, this is in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
A pastor named Jamie Coots from
Oh
the
my God, I
full,
know this story. Keep going.
yes, from the Full Gospel Tabernacle in Jesus' Name Church of Middlesboro, Kentucky, passed away from a rattlesnake bite. And he was a third generation snake handler. And he was bitten during a February 15th service. And he refused medical help and died later at his home. And he was 42 years old. And he was actually part of some kind of like documentary that happened. I can't remember the name of it. I didn't write it down. But a friend of his named Andrew Hamlin, who was also in that documentary, said that he believes that if Coots hadn't been bitten by the snake, that he still would have died on that day because, like, from something else. Because that was his time to go. Like that day, February 15th would have been his day to go. So even if he hadn't been bitten by the snake and died on February 15th, he would have died from like a heart attack, a car accident, something else. That's what he
Wow.
believed because
Wow.
February 15th was like his day to go. So and that's kind of what um many believers don't think that the people who pass from being bitten have less faith or faltering faith. It's just that
It's
it's
their
that
time to
person's
go.
it's that person's time to go. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
it's kind of like that. It's like if they hadn't been bitten, that they still would have died like on that day from something else. And like
Oh wow.
Coots
Mm-hmm.
in an interview for a book had said that previously that he'd been bitten like numerous times and all those other times had relied on his faith to heal him. And one of those other times he had lost a finger
Oh my God.
and he felt like what it was he felt it was punishment and because the spirit had left him and he kept handling the snake as like an ego thing.
Wow. Okay.
So he kept holding the snake and handling it when he should have put it down because he knew that the spirit had left him. But he was getting too big for his britches, and so that was his punishment from God. Was he got bit?
Wow. I just wow. Okay. It's a
Yeah,
very quick punishment. I love how
yeah,
God is just like on it. It's like, ah, you didn't let go.
right.
That'll cost you a finger for every second you waited. Blah blah.
Yes.
Wow.
Um, a lot of these states adopted laws, obviously prohibiting snake handling. Um, but nothing has like reached the Supreme Court. So it's just basically on a state by state basis. Like
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee all have laws against snake handling, but a lot of like local authorities just kind of like look the other way. They're like,
Yeah.
we really don't give a shit.
I was gonna say, I am aware of at least one in Kentucky. So
But there are around 100 documented. Well, this is also disputed. Somebody
sure.
says there's 91. Somebody said there's
Meh.
100 ish. Somebody said there's like around 120. So we're gonna
So
say anywhere from like 90 to 120 ish.
somewhere in that range.
Yes, documented deaths from snake handling churches.
Wow.
And according to the Wikipedia, the churches in Kentucky are Mossy Simpson Pentecostal, which is in Jensen, Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
the Full Gospel Tabernacle in Jesus' Name in Middlesboro, and East London Holiness Church in London, Kentucky, which
That's
I
the
was like,
one. That's the one I've heard
wow.
of. Ah, wow.
Anyway, so that is my story on snake handling, and I think it's a dumb way to die because these people who get bit. There
Boy.
was also in that CBS article that in the Coots Church
Mm-hmm.
that there was also a mother who got bit and she refused to go get help, like go seek medical attention. She wound up dying and she left behind like 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
And then her husband wound up getting bitten and then he died like something like 4 or 5 years later.
Wow.
And you're leaving behind kids and it's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Go get medical attention. Because it's like, I just feel like that's dumb. Like,
Yeah.
there are things out there to keep you from dying. Like,
It's almost like
go seek medical attention.
it's almost like God gave us a brain so that we could learn
Right.
things and that we could
Right.
create things so that we can live longer.
Because
Why
I'm
would
just
you
like, you know
not?
what? I know people are like, oh, like God and science, like butt heads, but I'm like, no, honestly,
Why?
I feel like for those of you who believe in God, I'm like, I feel like God gave us science
Yeah.
to help us. you know, God and science can coexist. For those of you who believe in God, it's like science is
Right.
there to help us. Science is not evil. Science is not like trying to disprove God. For those of you people who
Right?
hate
And then it's
science.
like science just is science. It
Yes.
doesn't have any feelings.
Yes. It's just like ugh.
Mm.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
that's like yeah. So that's my dumb way to die is
That was
being bitten
amazing.
by being bitten by a snake at a snake handling church as if because you're just gonna be like, no, I got bit, so I'm just
That
gonna like
is
not do anything
amazing.
and then die based on 3 passages from the Bible and my faith. So
It's like, it's a hard pass. So thanks, but no thanks kind of situation.
yeah, that's just yeah. So
But that's amazing. I love that. It's one of those things that's just we grew up in London, so like fascinating. Like we heard about it. It existed.
yep,
And I was always dumbfounded. It's like, all right. But as an
I know,
actual
right? It's
adult
just
now,
like
I'm like, the fuck?
right.
Oh.
I know.
Mm,
It's when you're reading about it, you're like, oh my god, this is like
ugh.
happening in my hometown. Shit.
Anyway, okay. That was excellent, Claire. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I'm now going to take us into this week's sweary affirmation.
Yay.
Are you ready, Claire?
Yes.
You are fucking limitless when you nurture your own damn needs.
Yes.
So this week is all about self-care. Take care of yourself.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Must be time for tarot time with April. A spooky spooky. All right, Claire. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Tell me when to stop. I'm sure in some Victorian novel somewhere that somebody died as a result of playing cards. So, or telling the future, or reading their tarot. Well, they were super obsessed with this crap, so anyway.
Right.
They're like, everything's haunted with Victorian era ghosts.
Right.
I'm losing control.
Nah, stop.
Okay. Like they're coming out of my hands. Okay, which way do they go? I'm so confused now. Okay, I think that's
She's like, I don't even know.
well, because I shuffle around with them, so we now have some inverted ones again, and yeah, you know how much I hate that.
Yes.
All right. Mm. We are starting our week with the Five of Wands.
Ooh.
And then we shall have the Queen of Cups, and finish with the Knight of Cups.
Ooh. Interesting. Get some new cards up in there. Cool,
I know,
cool.
like, I feel like I have at some point had the Five of Wands, because I almost want to say what it is. I don't know.
Right.
All right. There are a few ways to look at the Five of Wands. One is frustration, and the other is competition. Yay! Let's see. But let's see. Blah 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 blah. This is one of those where my picture is very different than their picture.
Gotcha.
But these two guys look like they're a little competitive here. They're quite competitive in there. So we're gonna assume it's competition. So
Gotcha.
let's see. In this situation, you've got to decide whether it benefits you more to continue fighting upstream or to relax and go with the crowd. Get your stick out of my face. Get your face out of my stick. This this is the tarot equivalent of a slap fight. You're trying to go one way, everyone else is going another, and they won't stop messing with you. Either way, it's annoying and taking time away from your forward movement. So, alright, people just... Sounds like fun times. Can already see my work week at that point. Thanks, guys. Gonna be a beauty of a week.
Right.
Let's see. Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups only has a toe in the water. I don't think that's correct on my card, but that's okay. But she is close to water, the emotion surrounds her, but she doesn't descend into it or drench herself in other people's emotions. She is often psychic, empathetic, and kind. She is not insecure, nor is she shallow. She is deep and calm and a soothing balm to all who need her assistance. I like that. I like that. I'm here for that. I need her deep and calm and soothing balm. That sounds nice.
Yes.
All right. And then the Knight of Cups. He sits in the quad, jeans, a white shirt, a worn copy of Vonnegut dangling limply from his hand as he stares out into the distance. He smokes, of course, and his dark hair is tousled and curly. He says hi to you as you pass, but his smile doesn't reach his eyes. He looks sad, and his sadness is on your mind for the rest of your life. Dear heavens, does this make an impact? He is so romantic, and I can't even stand it.
Oh my god, this description is so ridiculous.
I know, but I was like, I gotta read it all word for word. It's too perfect.
I know. I was like, I can't with this description.
Okay, so to break it down, we're going to start our week with some competition. We're going to have our middle week being filled with the deep, calm, soothing balm of the Queen of Cups, and we're going to end it with romance, apparently. So, that sounds all right to me.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, let's see
Yes.
what's going to be our Wheel of Fate topic for next week. Whee! What a bananas tarot reading. Haunted places near you.
Near you.
That's fun. I have some more things I can do. That sounds good.
Yes.
That'll be fun. Thank you, Christy Joe, for submitting that, and we're excited to do it again. All right, let us get back to our happy place. All right, well, that was a fun time. Dumb ways to die. You know, Spencer gave me a lot of other ideas as well, so we'll have to keep that one.
Okay.
But until next time, when you can hear us talk about more spooky, scary places near us, you can find us in all the things and all the places at
Brunch and Judge.
Please follow, like, subscribe, comment, do a dance, all the things.
Yes.
You can also send us topics for our wheel or story ideas you'd like for us to cover and send them to us at
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunching
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.